Please let me know, yeah, if we have any problem in the voice, or you have problem with the slides. Please let me know, yeah, so that, because I can't see the slide from here, so I can only see my slide. Yeah, so if you have any problem in the sounds, or you have any problems in the slides, please do let me know. Yeah. So if you have any question, you can always drop by. You can write it up in the chat, or else, and also you can raise your hands at the end of the lectures. Yeah. So I will give you time to so that we can discuss for this. Yeah? So for these first lectures, we will be covering these six items. Yeah? One, we will be discussing how to start. Yeah? How to start from, because most of the students, when they want to do master or PhD, they don't know where to start. I think that is a very key element for that. Then you can discuss what topic to choose. Yeah? Then we will discuss what is the research, the purpose of research, and what is important after the research. And so we can hopefully discuss about it. On the next lectures, yeah, on the second lectures, I'll be discussing about a kind of introductions. What is a research? What is the important key element of the research? And at the end, we will be discussing about abstracts, yeah? One of the key elements, yeah? Because from the abstracts of any thesis, we can actually understand what are the researchers, yeah? Or the students was doing when he was finishing the thesis. Before I think there are four important questions, yeah, that we need to be very clear of, yeah, when we start doing our research. Yeah. Number one is that what will you like to be? Yeah, what would you like to be? Yeah. Some people they want to be a professor. Yeah. Some people they want to be directors. Some people they want to be self-employed. Some people want to be prime ministers. I have an experience where one of my students from Pakistan were actually planning to become secretary general or minister in public housing. Yeah. So I got opportunity to supervise him, and he actually doing a research related with that. So the your plans in 10 years down the road, it's very important, so that as a supervisors, yeah, we can actually guide you to achieve your objectives. Yeah, so that is the most important. The topic of research that you choose, that will determine your future's endeavor. I mean, in what will be your be in the next 10 years. That was the first question that you need to ask yourself. Yeah? The second question that you need to ask yourself is that what is your main interest? Yeah? Some people they are interested with something technological. Yeah? They want to do a software, they want to do a simulation, they want to know the updates, systems or software in the market that you would like to use. Yeah? Some people they go philosophical. Yeah? Philosophical mean you are asking a questions, the fundamental question about things. Yeah? You have some values that you think is right, then you want people to agree with you. That is called philosophical. Yeah? You have something, or historical. You like to know some things, what happened in the past. You would like to know the facts. That is a kind of historical research. The other one is that you might want to do a kind of management. Yeah? For example, like I did one of my students doing a space management, how to manage a space in the Mars. Yeah, so that is one type of research, as you can see. Yeah. So your objectives in life, yeah, should be clear. Yeah, so that you know what is the research going to be. Yeah? I mean, if you're not clear on what your objective, yeah, what your objective in the future, that will create a lot of issues. Yeah? I mean, your research will be just floating, yeah? Just floating, just flowing. Yeah? That is not the right attitude that we like as an academics. Yeah? Then the third question, which is also very important in the research, that what are you good at? What are you good at? I mean, what's the things that you're good at? for example, some people like to adventuring in the forest. They like to explore the forest, the seas. Yeah? Some people like reading. Yeah? Some people like talking to the people, yeah? Traveling or meeting people. So as a student and also as a supervisor, it's very crucial that we identify the interest, not just the interest. What are the students are good at? Yeah? So if the student was good in the readings, we might give them a lot of book to read. Yeah, we don't ask some people who like to read don't like to talk with people. So it's very important as a supervisor for you to identify this important elements. Yeah? You as a student also need to identify what is your need. So when you pick up your methodology later on, try to pick up the best methodology that suits you. Yeah, the methodology that actually works on you, that you like to do it. Yeah. Okay. Next is that what do you have access to? I think this is also very important. When you like to start research, you have to ensure that your data was accessible. Yeah, don't do research when you're not sure that you will get the data. Yeah, I have a dozen of students who like to plan to do something. When I ask them, do you have access to the data? So they don't have the access to the data. So my suggestion is that they pick up another topic, yeah, another topic. So I will start asking them, what is the topic for your masters? What data that you already have? I think that is better. Yeah, that's the better pathway. I keep telling my students is that if you cannot get the data, you cannot get the research to be done. That is the very glaring things. Yeah, that's very important. For example, like you might have a data to students' works. Yeah, for example, you've been a lecturer for like 10 years, 15 years. Yeah, or maybe 20 years company performance. Yeah, so you are a kind of risk R&D's head, yeah, in the companies. You have the data for the last 10 years. That is a very valuable information that you have. Prime Minister X, yeah, Prime Minister X will be in Malaysia, we call it PM10, the 10th Prime Ministers. You might access to him, yeah, then you might have the some data. Local government, SPRM files, half of data on Malaysia or China's GDPs, yeah, lecturers' evaluation results. Yeah. These are the data that some students might have it, while other students might not have it. So it is better to start, number one, start with something that you like. Yeah, for example, so that you are happy to do your research. And so don't do a research when you are not happy with it. Don't pick up a methodology that you are not familiar. For example, some student I saw myself, they like to talk with people, yeah, but they don't like reading. So don't pick up methodology like content analysis who asks you for lots of readings. Yeah. Some people like to travel. Yeah. I have students who like to travel, going to Taiwan. Yeah. I think one of your senior, yeah, he go to Taiwan, he go to Japan, he go to Bali, he go to Australia. So you like to travel. So for this kind of students, you have to understand that he might be able to pick up a methodology related with I mean the thing that he likes. Yeah. Then after that's why before we start, you ask these four questions. Yeah, number one, the question, what do you want to be? Yeah. What is your interest? What is you good at? And the last one is that what is the data that you already have? Yeah. Then after that, you pick up the supervisors. Yeah. I mean, in UCSI, we might not have much option of supervisors, yeah, because in Malaysia, for supervising PhD, sometimes you need a professor or somebody who already graduated a student. So sometimes you can have a supervisor and you can have a co-supervisor. So that is the thing. Yeah? So don't angry to me. So you have to pick up your supervisor lah. So for example, like this guy, he has a skill in photography. Say he like taking pictures. So he use his photography skill as a part of his research method. Yeah. For example, so you pick up your supervisors. Yeah. Hopefully, this guy is not me lah. So that we are not have this bad experience. Yeah. Okay. So we have start. No, I hope you know how to start. Yeah, how to start your research. Next, after the you identify the four questions. Now you need to ask a questions. Yeah. Now we start with something called big pictures. Yeah. Big pictures is a very important component in research because in every research they have a big picture, yeah. And this big pictures is usually is not about your particular area. For example, if is most of you coming from architectures, you want to do research in architectures, your big picture is not most of the time is not an architectures. Yeah. If you're doing a landscape architecture, QS, or maybe some of you doing BIM, for example. So normally there's a big underlying pictures, you know, big underlying pictures to actually govern your topics. Yeah? It's, most of the time it's about social, it's political, environmental, or economics. Yeah? So this is, for example, one of my students is doing on the space management. The issues or the big pictures that he was bring up was an economy. He said that in Malaysia only like 2 or 3% of the space of the mosque was used. So if you didn't utilize the mosque, I mean 97% was not used. He was explaining about the maintenance cost. Yeah? Per meter square, you need to maintain this amount of money. Yeah. So when you're spending a lot of money and you didn't utilize it, so it's worth it. It's not worth it to maintain it. So it's economy. Yeah. So in every research, you have to be very clear on your big pictures. Yeah, because this what is the one that become the first questions. Yeah, when I become examiners. Yeah, I've been an examiner for hundreds of vivas. Yeah, since 2000. My first Viva was 2009, yeah? So it was quite a long time ago, 13 years ago. Then I've been an examiner for many Viva. So uh, one of the first question that I always ask to the student is that why we need your research? Yeah? That is a very important question. And why we need your research come from your big pictures. Yeah? I'm giving an examples about big pictures of drug abuse among teenagers. So we use these topics, yeah? For example, like issues like school education, yeah, government enforcement, corruption, yeah, efficiency rehabilitation, parental guidance. These are the topics related with your big pictures. Yeah. So from your big picture, you can see there's a lots of issues related with it. Yeah, that's why it's very important for you to understand your big pictures. Yeah, for example, if I give example, this one was big drug abuse among teenagers. Let's say you are concerning about school education. Yeah? So from all this school education, government enforcement. So each school education, government enforcement, they can become a different thesis. Yeah, this is very important. So some students they are confused, you know, because when you are walking the roads of doing your research, sometimes you see lots of interesting things. You know, you start doing one, oh, this interesting there, this interesting things there. So they become diverted. Yeah? So the student become doing things that they are not supposed to be doing. Yeah? So that is the where your supervisor should play the roles lah. So they should bring the student into the right path again. Yeah? So let's say we talk about school education. Yeah? Write a few things related to school education. For example, like moral curriculum, counseling activities, yeah? School disciplinary policies, co-curricular activity, etc. Yeah? So let's say from those topics we zero in on moral education. Yeah? Write some aspect on moral education, yeah? Such as syllabus content, pedagogical instruction, actual implementation. Now we can have a topic. Yeah? For example, like a critical analysis of moral studies curriculum with respect to drug abuse. That's we can use a content analysis as a part of the research methods. Yeah? Or you might pick up a topic like an evaluation of the effectiveness of moral studies in relation to drug abuse. This one you can do a survey. Yeah? And then you can do a comparison, yeah, between urban and village students with respect to moral studies and drug abuse. Yeah, that's another participant observations. Yeah. Or you might pick up a topic like evaluating teachers' attitude in moral studies on drug abuse. Yeah. A review of education policy with respect to moral study and drug abuse. An historical description of the development of moral study in relation to drug abuse. So as you can see here, each topic become a different research, become a different thesis. So it's very important that you keep up your focus. Yeah, and now let's next on the next lecture we'll be discussing about scoping down the research. Yeah. Uh, is my slide and sound still clear?
Yes,
Hello?
Prof.
Yeah, okay. Please let me know, yeah, if you have any problem.
No, no
So,
problem.
in social science research, I pick up a sample of any time, we have things called philosophical. Yeah? Sometimes I think it should be like this, called a philosophical research. Sometimes you are talking about historicals, yeah, what happened, when, and why, yeah, or behavioral. Yeah, so in scientific research, the terms might be different, yeah, because scientific research is more specific and more result-based oriented. Yeah, but while the social science is more, you find a lot of variables there. Yeah, interesting variables. Yeah. So research might be coming out with something new. Yeah? What is new? So new it doesn't mean that because when we looking at others experts, yeah, it's very clear that some of the nothing is new in the world. Yeah? When you think about something new, other people also thinking about the same thing. So new sometimes means you are framing certain issues, simple issues or normal issues with the different frameworks and different understandings. And that could be a new thing. Yeah? Research might be testing something. For example, like you want to test whether terrace housing have enough lighting requirements. Yeah. You want to test whether Kenyang buildings, yeah, architect Kenyang can stand laminar flow experiments. Yeah. You want to test whether students use the dormitory spaces as designed by an architect, such as in drying space and communal space. And I think this is a testing. Yeah. So you have certain framework of theories, you want to test something, that could be one type of research. Yeah? Or research could be philosophize on something. Yeah, this is more interesting. Yeah? It is interesting research. I'm not saying that the first one is less interesting. No, it's just sometimes when students want to propose the idea of something that he or she thinks is right, then he actually trying to propose a kind of philosophy research, yeah? Philosophical research. Yeah? For example, you want to use hadith to reconstruct Islamic architectures. That is one a very interesting research there. Use democratic value to design admin buildings. Yeah? For example, you have in Indonesia or in Malaysia or in other country, we have value for democracy. So how actually get democratic values implemented in the design? So that will be a very interesting topic. Or you might want to talk about regionalist idea to redefine Malaysian architectural identities. Yeah? Use culture as a frame to design. I think this is a few items of research. How to do research? We're going to discuss very detail on these topics later. Yeah, we will have lots of different experts talking about their approach in research. Yeah, it might be an observation. So you want to observe things. Of course, the parameter is very important. Participant observation, yeah, opinion surveys. Yeah, you want might be distributing questionnaire. You might be interviewing the expert there. Yeah, content analysis of text. Yeah, so for research related with the policy regulations. Yeah, you might want to look at the text. Yeah, this is a part of research. It's a very important research. Yeah? Philosophical constructs. Yeah, and it might be experiential. Experientially, this is a kind of research that not many people do it. For example, like you would like to share your experience in running an architecture firms, yeah? Architecture consultants in Jakarta, for example. what are the challenge, what are the issues, what are the problems that you would like to share with people. Yeah? So that is can be a things called experiential research, which not many people actually doing it. Okay. Okay. Then after you did your research, that's the most important part. Yeah. I keep it here so that at the end of the lecture later on, you know that actually research or postgraduate studies, yeah, is basically is a training. Yeah, it's a training where your real works begin after that. Yeah? So research for master is simply to get your hands dirty doing some inquiries. Yeah? So you have some question, you would like to know something. That is a level of masters. Yeah? Research on master level. When you did a PhDs, or you need to prepare a person. Yeah? So the objective of master and PhD is different. Yeah? So master is more like you are training people to think, to write, and to explain things academically. While in PhD, you actually prepare person to be a young scholar. So you have to ensure that your students, I mean, most of you doing PhD, should become a apprentice supervisors. Yeah? You'll become a supervisor in the future. So the role of professor is basically the one who masterminds the knowledge, construction, and engage dissemination, etc. Okay. I finish up my first lectures. Any questions before we move to the second lecture? Any question maybe from the participant? Oh, we have big numbers of participants today. Ada apa-apa soalan? Any question?
Jangan apa sama lulus baru ke Bandung, Jo.
If I'm explaining too fast or you didn't understand things, please let me know. Any question? If not, I move to the next lecture.
Prof, sorry.
Yes, please.
Just want to ask you short questions. You've mentioned about the difference of role, yeah, in master's students after they graduated, or and the PhD students. But in terms of the research, what is the most difference between the master's thesis research and the PhD thesis research? So, or even with the bachelor thesis research. So when we are as supervisors, so we can know the limits. This should be the limit for bachelor students, and then this is the limit of master student, and this is the limit of PhD students. So what's the most difference, the thing that really differ among those three? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Padoni, for the questions. It's not very clear, the questions, but I'm trying to explain. I think you're asking about the differences between bachelor thesis, masters, and PhDs. Yeah? Okay. During my time, I think during some of our times, yeah, during Pak Doni, maybe some Dr. Ika, so some of our time, when I did architectural thesis, yeah, final projects. Yeah. During my time, we don't have things called thesis. Yeah. We call it as the final projects, project akhir, yeah, final projects. So in our times, when people are doing a final projects, they are just simply designing a specific typology of buildings. For example, during my time, the lecturer instructed me to design a market. Yeah. It's a wet market with the possibilities of engaging cultural things in the market. So it's a project. For example, some students are doing filing rooms, yeah, gedung arsip, yeah, filing rooms in the building. Yeah. So it's a very specific building. So it's not to say easy, it's very straightforward. Yeah. So as an architecture students, most of the time when we would like to do our final project, we have this specific building to design. Because we have things called in Indonesia, we have skripsi. Yeah, skripsi is a kind of academic writings, yeah, exercise. Yeah? So in Malaysia, there's a different approach in the final projects. They call it as a thesis. Yeah, thesis means you have to come up with the issues. Yeah, it's basically is a combination between our final projects at the same time our skripsi lah, our research. Yeah, so that is the kind called bachelor thesis. So you have an issue, you like to solve an issues with a specific case study. Yeah? The basic uh, requirement, yeah, on that. So when it is a basic thing. Okay. Master thesis. Yeah? Master thesis is basically you are opening a new field of knowledge. That's the objective of it. That's why I always ask my master student to explore. Yeah, there's a new topic. When I talk to my master student, I also always talk. Okay, can you think about this? Can you think about that? Can you think about, because the objective of masters is to open up a new topic to be a topic of the next masters or the topic or the next PhD. So that's the objective of it. Yeah, based on my experience, like. So that is the objective of masters. I mean, basically, you are training people to think, to write, to argue academically. That is the exercise is there. So for some student from Indonesia, for example, if you have done your skripsi, yeah, skripsi is one of the thesis. Yeah, you have basically you have the basic of it. Yeah, I mean you have the some basic experience. Yeah, in some other countries, they don't have that exercise. Yeah, so the skripsi is a good exercise for you to train your academics knowledge. Yeah, I mean your in terms of methodologies, in terms of issue identification, objective, etc. Okay. So it will be very easy for you when you join master program. You just improve from your scripts and then developing it further. Okay. So while for PhDs, yeah, PhD have different objective. As mentioned before, we are training an apprentice of supervisors. Yeah? So we are training you to become the next supervisors. That's the objective of PhDs. So that's why I was very lucky. I was very lucky because my supervisor before was very open, and he asked me to join. If he has a class, I mean, you will see him for the next lectures. Yeah, please attend the next lecture. The next lecture he will be sharing the some of the research method in architecture history and theories. Yeah, so you can ask him anything. So he always involved. Yeah, because during that time I was one of his research assistant. So I did PowerPoint for him. I did presentation. I did a lot of things for his research. Yeah? So with that situations, I learned. I learned when I'm doing my master PhDs. Yeah? So I learned to supervise students. So when you are supervising a PhD, you have to invite your students to join the conference, the seminar, the research, so that they are aware of that on that particular exercise. Yeah? So when they supervise students later on, then they have the experience for that. I think that is very important for us. Okay. Okay, got one question in the chat. Oh, sorry. Do you have any advice on how to find the right supervisor for my research? Also, what should I do if my research topic is something that is no supervisor is special? Okay, like entrepreneurship, marketing, and everything. Oh, okay. I think one thing that very important is that when you talk about supervisors, there's a lot of issues related with supervisors. I can have one single, yeah, one there. Okay. Help me to let the people in. Yeah? Well, okay. I can give a whole days of lectures on the issue of supervising students. Yeah? Because there's a lot of issues related with the supervisors. Yeah? So my suggestion is that before you start doing your masters or your PhDs, get you have a proposal. Definitely you have proposal, you have ideas. Get the supervisor and discuss with them. Yeah. So when you have discussion with them, the supervisor should be able to guide you. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I have a lot of students discussing with me, then end up they working with other supervisors. It's okay for me. It's a normal thing when you then we do not know, you know, your future. So even my supervisor also like that. Some students discuss with my supervisor, then end up become my students. So some of my some people discuss with me with to talk to me about their topic project and everything, and then become other student supervisor. I think that's in academic world is normal to have that. Don't have to be angry or what. It's not a problem at all. So my tips for you is that before, I always say to my students, do not enter the light when you cannot see the end of the tunnel. Do not enter a tunnel when you cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel. So when you want to register for Master PhD, ensure that you are clear with your topics. You know what to do. Yeah? It's good that you have discussed with supervisor, you ask them a questions, and you are very clear on that, then it's become very easy for you. So your journey, which is always be difficult, journey of master PhD is always difficult. But when you know the supervisors and you are well prepared, you are more aware of your journeys. So you know it's become more smooth compared to other people. Yeah, some other people for the first 6 months, yeah, based on my experience, yeah, most of the students, the first 6 months is a search for research proposal. And they don't know what topic to do. You know, they still confused. Is it the right topic for me or not? So I always suggest my students 6 months before you register, ensure you finish up everything. You finish up your topic, you finish up your plan, you finish up your methodologies. Yeah, so that when you register, you just execute what you plan. Yeah, that is better compared to registers and searching. Yeah, because some people might have scholarships. Some of the lecturers, they go overseas, they have scholarship. So somebody paying for them. It's okay. But based on my experience, when I did my masters and PhD, I'm not relying on scholarship. Kalau Indonesia, one sample is almarhum Presiden B.J. Habibie lah. Yeah, if, the former president of Indonesia. Yeah, B.J. Habibie don't rely on any scholarships. He works in Germany. He works in Germany. He get the salaries, and the salary makes him do masters, PhD, and finish everything. So it's a pro and cons on that. Yeah? Of course, when you have a scholarship, it's easier because you don't think much of your fees. Yeah, you don't have to be burdened by the fees. But at the other side, when you are doing master of PhD by working, then you appreciate the time better. That's why I did my master in 6 months. I did my PhD in 2 years. Yeah, we can share, we can discuss further because I have to pay every semester. So when you have to pay every semester, you appreciate every semester, every cent of money you spend. So that's why you want to finish very fast because of that. It's a pragmatic reason. So back to the questions there, that was the difference between bachelor thesis, master, and also PhD. Yeah. So I think we can discuss further later on that. Yeah. So pick up your supervisor. You have a topic, get somebody to discuss. Yeah, you can discuss with me. It's okay. I mean, the Ika have my email address and phone numbers, so you can if we have a time to meet and discuss, they will be better. Yeah. Here we have Pak Doni was my master, my PhD student currently, and we have other students also. Yeah. Huzi also here, and some other student, yeah, also in here. Okay, I think we move to the next lecture first. Then we have ample time to discuss further. Yeah. Let me share the screen. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, Prof. Yes.
Yes, yeah, you can see my screen. Okay. Let's get introduce a bit on research. Yeah, what is a research actually, so that we can somehow understand it better. Yeah? In these topics, yeah, we were discussing about research background, problem statement, what is objective, yeah? Research justification, hypothesis, yeah, research scopes, and also an abstract. Yeah? One abstract is important, yeah, because when you able to write down your abstract, I know abstract never be final. even even until the last day you submit your thesis, your title and your abstract still be changed, still subject to change. I changed my abstract and my titles, I think 3 4 days before I submit the whole thesis for vivas. Yeah, so it's normal to improve that. But at least when you have some understanding of the abstracts, at least you know how to identify the component of research. I think that's the most important of it. What is a research? Yeah, basically research is using scientific. Yeah, I think this presentation is more biased to engineering. Yeah, if some of you from engineering background, we can discuss further that. Using the scientific or engineering method to generate hypotheses. Yeah, provide analyzable result. Yeah. All scientific research has ultimate aim, yeah, repeated and refined experiment or simulation in gradually reaching an answer. And so your research should be able to be repeated. I think that's the most important. That's why in research methodologies, you must be very clear. Yeah. I keep telling my student, if you have any pictures, you have any questionnaire, you have anything, you have to put it on the tables. Yeah? When you do your examination and all, you have to tell them. You distribute a 213 questionnaire. You cannot say I distribute 200 questionnaire, 200 plus questionnaire. You have to specifically mention 213 questionnaire, and because it's going to be repeated, some other people might be looking at your research report and might be doing it again. Yeah. So a way of gradually uncover truths. Yeah? So in academic worlds, no such thing as a truth. It's just a picture. I call it a picture. Yeah? We can discuss further in other events. Uh, through the rigid structure experimentation or simulation, research result can be verified acceptable contribution to science, engineering, and technologies. Yeah? So I think you have methodologies to basically verify that. Yeah? There are two types of research. Yeah, for your information. There are two types of research that the expert classify. Yeah, one is what they call it as a pure scientific research. Yeah. Pure scientific research concerns with understanding underlying abstract principle and describing them with elegant theories. So I think this is very important. In developed countries, yeah, in developed countries, pure scientific research, or we call it fundamental research, become one of the key research to develop many things. Yeah. But in developing country like Indonesia, Malaysia, or other countries which still developing, they don't see the fundamental or pure scientific research as a very important research. Yeah. I think this is wrong. So research like policies, trying demographic research, historicals, yeah, philosophical. This kind of research is very important for us to understand the underlying principles, yeah, of the things. Yeah. Of course, the next one you have applied research. Applied research is that basically you are using what you have in the fundamental research into uh, certain methodologies or certain systems, yeah, certain simulations, and all. So actually, the most important was the fundamental research, because fundamental research opened a new field of knowledge. Yeah, so applied research is just a repetition of the fundamental research itself. But both is very important. Both are important to be developed further. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about problem statement. Yeah. Whenever you start research, always start with problems. I keep telling my students, you don't have any problem, you don't talk about research. Because there are no research without a problem. So at the beginning, you have to be very clear. Yeah, a clear, concise description of the issue that need to be addressed by the researcher. Yeah. A good problem statement should answer this question. Yeah. What is the problem? Yeah. Why is needed? Yeah. Who is involved in with the problem? Yeah. What form can the solution be? Yeah. What is the method of solving problems? What the purpose, statement, objective, and scope? And so these are the important components in the research. Because the first question, remember, the first question of the examiner, they will always ask why we need this research, why we need to do this thing. So you have to give them, oh, so this is the problem that we face in the industries, in the companies, maybe in my country. So these are the things that are very important. So problem statement is one of the very important components, yeah, in the research. Then after you have your problem statements, yeah, we go with the research aims and objective. Yeah. We have to be very clear on the objective. Yeah. So what is your objective? What is the ultimate aims, yeah, of you doing that? Research is designed around clearly defined aim and objective. So address unique issues. Yeah. So it cannot be it cannot when you did a research, it cannot solve the problem of the world. So I keep telling my students, you want to solve the world's problem. So it's not a research. Yeah. So research means you have specific issues, you have a specific and unique problem or issues to address. Objective will be very specific. Yeah. So the scope is very important in these matters lah. Yeah. The purpose of the research purpose indicates why the study was done. The purpose of study was to assess some key low energy design feature and ventilation strategy that can possibly contribute to better indoor thermal environment performance. Clear? So you are very clear. You cannot say that I want to solve the problem that the Malaysian house was very hot. Oh, that's very general. So try to avoid general issues, make it more specific so that you can have specific objective. Specific objective should arise directly from general purpose and to study. Yeah. Clear, specific, yeah, concrete, realistic, and achievable in order of importance and measurable. So I give you the examples. Example of good specific objective. To design prototype that can act as a measure for good outsourced software. So it's a very engineering and software based lah. So this is very specific. To identify an expert system that will to create a digital elevation model. Yeah? So normally we put a specific objective. For example, like to identify factors that affects da 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 da. So to analyze factors that to propose what. So it is normally like that. Example of bad specific objective. I give you examples. To highlight a role of modularity in product development. To highlight is not clear. Highlight is just you want to say, okay, this is problem this. Then what? To assess the level, assess the level, you have to be very clear. What until what level of assessment? I think that's the most important of that. Research justification, yeah, is significant or research might be due to this possible reason. So you have to be clearly justify your research justifications. Yeah, gaps exist. Yeah, so it might be because of the gap exists. More and more knowledge is needed. Current knowledge need to be validated. Current practice. So how you going to justify your research? This is some of the samples lah. There is no known solution to the problem. So it's a justification why your research should be done like that. So usually involve the following three parts. Problem under study is important problem. So you have to very clear on that. It is just a simple problem. Then why we need to do research? That the methodology being used is appropriate. Your contribution, and the last one will be your contribution. Hypothesis, either suggested explanation for observable phenomena or reason proposal predicting possible causal correlation among multiple phenomena. So you must be able to come up with the hypothesis. It's suspected. I always say that I suspect because of this. I suspect because of that. So you have a kind of hypothesis for that. Yeah? To frame a hypothesis, reason must not currently know the outcome of the text. Yeah? So that is the idea of it. Yeah? This is very important. Yeah? When you did a master or PhDs, or you did a research, you have to be very, very clear on the scopes and limitation. Yeah? So most of the students have problem with this. When they come up with thesis, the topic was very general, which is very difficult for them to come up with something as a contribution. Yeah. The scopes could be in the term of depth of investigation, in terms of content, sample size, methodology, geographical, or maybe theoretical coverage. Okay. Uh, the sample of the scope could be subject, variables, tasks, yeah, type of trainings. Yeah, these are the key elements that scope down your research. Yeah. The most important is the first six one. Within the area, sample size, geographical. These are very important. Risk limitation or weakness may include any of the following. Yeah, you might state it, yeah, in your research that the sampling problem, uncontrollable variables, yeah, error in tests. Yeah. These are the things. Not to say that we are mentioning. We have to tell them the problems. Yeah, the limitation. Yeah, we cannot, for example, that we cannot do. We would like to have this research to be done across Indonesia, for example, but Indonesia is very wide. Yeah, so that in this topic, I only cover the Bali area, research in Bali area. And in Bali, is not all Bali. I'm just covering maybe Denpasar area because of the limitation of the time, limitation of the budget, limitation of the things. You have to explain that. That's the limitation on that. But of course, you have to scope down first. For example, like if you did a research on the traditional temples, yeah, you need to know which temple give or have a biggest influence, architecture language. For example, you to say that okay, most of the temple that have an influence or if or special features is in Kuta, for example. Then you covering the Kuta area lah. So the Kuta must be in it. For example, like my student doing in Kuala Lumpur. He did a survey in Kuala Lumpur. Kuala Lumpur was have 6 or 7 districts. So he was picking up for each district must be a representative, because representation from each district is very important in his research. I think that is how you justify the scope and the limitation. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about an abstract. Yeah? Why I jump into the abstracts? Because previously, when I exercise my student, I will let them to read hundred of abstracts. Yeah? When in previous research method class, yeah? I invite them to join many of the to read a lot of thesis. Just read the abstract. So in the abstract, you can extract many information of the thesis. Yeah? So brief summary of the research project should be stated in the following. Because the abstract, this component should be there. Yeah? The main purpose of the research, why the study was carried out, yeah? How the problem was studied, the principal finding, and what the finding mean. Yeah? So basically, if you want to make it simple, what you did, why you did it, how you did it, and what you found, and what it means. So there are 5 components, yeah, inside the abstracts. We should be there. Yeah, should be descriptive by concise. Maybe after these classes, you have very clear on your topics. Maybe you can start writing your abstracts. Yeah, you might start writing a short abstract, subject to change. Yeah, during your research, of course, you will change about it. I give you examples. Yeah? Field study on indoor thermal environment in atrium in tropical climates is quite general topics. So this is the abstract. Yeah? This research report the implication of too low cost. So different colors, yeah, have means is cover different components. Yeah, the main purpose of the research. Yeah? So if you can see here, I put the colors lah. Yeah? A site test was undertaken over 10 consecutive days. So you explain to them the methodologies. Yeah? this study has shown that on the hot. So in this is the findings and how the findings mean. Yeah. Yeah. So that's how you write an abstract for your thesis later on. Investigating thermal condition. Yeah. This is another research. Yeah. Why we want it. Yeah. And the methodology of it. Yeah. What is your finding? What the finding means? Yeah. So you can have it. I put the different colors so that you can have a look, yeah, on this sample of the abstract. So I pick up the engineering one because it's more easier for you to identify, yeah, compared to social science one. That's all for the first lectures. Yeah. I open up to any questions, maybe from the participants.
Good morning, Prof.
Yeah, silakan, please.
Yeah, I have a question for you. So, I'm currently have a writing block during my research writing, which is currently my topic is focusing on homestay development on a certain village. The problem is my integrating the SDGs goals on homestay required some change on the house to meet the ASEAN standard regulation about homestay. But my supervisor against about that change and told me that a homestay should say as much as original as it be. Could you help me how to bridge this problem so I stick to the ASEAN standard regulation, or should I take my professor advice? Thank you, Prof.
Yogi, yeah, well, good question. Thank you very much. Very good question. First rules of the students during your viva or during your presentation, never mention your lecturers ask you to do something. That is a wrong wrong statement. Never use that word, yeah, because during the viva, even during your final presentation later on, yeah, the thesis is yours. The thesis is yours. You like it or not, is yours. Yeah. The way I looking at it is that the supervisor is there to guide you. Yeah. There's a four rules of supervisors. Yeah. To become a friend, to guide, to support. Yeah. There's a different role of the supervisors. Yeah. One of the very important rules for the supervisor is I always use last lah. If I saw my students start to crawling into the areas which was because when you did your master PhD, you are very you see many things. Yeah, you will find many interesting things. Yeah, oh that's interesting. I want to do that. Oh that's interesting. I want to do that. Oh that's interesting. I want to do that. So you have to stick back. Yeah? Number one, Yogi, the most important, what is the issues? What is the problem that you like to address? Apa masalahnya? What is the problems? So the problems will define the direction of your thesis. No matter how bad, how the things changing in the middle. Yeah, for example, like I give you examples lah. When I did my masters, yeah, when I did my masters, I'm very interesting in doing research on Islamic architecture, yeah, on the mosque design and other things. My supervisor, when I say my prof, I want to do something on Islamic architecture. My professor say, oh, you cannot do Islamic architecture until you read Frank Lloyd Wright and you read Le Corbusier's and you read Louis Sullivan's. Read their books. Eh? I'm not sure if any of the students here ever read about Frank Lloyd Wright, a book written by Frank Lloyd Wright, yeah, or the architects, yeah, the architects. So okay, then I read lah. I read. Okay. Then I learn many things. So my supervisor want me to do, for example, if there's a thesis was 100%, he want to do 70% of Frank Lloyd Wright, 30% of Islamic architecture. For example, this is a philosophical ideas of Frank Lloyd Wright design approach and how it give small contribution to Islamic architecture. When I want to do my research, I want to do 70% of Islamic architecture, 30% of Frank Lloyd Wright. So I turn back the thesis. Yeah, I turn back the thesis. I did some modification on the thesis, so I talk more about Islamic architecture. I just talk a bit about like 1.5 chapters, yeah, on Frank Lloyd Wright. So When I give it to my supervisor, of course lah, he said, wow, you did it like this, ah. You did it like the one that you don't want. Yeah, but at the end of the day, you need to understand that the thesis belong to us. We are the one who going to defend it, not your supervisors. Yeah, previously, when I become when my student having a viva in 2009 in Malaysia, the supervisor still can talk. So in the viva, in the examination, supervisor can help, yeah, somehow helps the student lah. So I sometimes I give him, yeah, I tell my student, don't you remember we discussed about this before? Yeah, don't you know we remember? So when student answer a question from the examiner, it helps them. But in the future, in like I think starting from 1914 and 15, yeah, 2015, sorry, 2015, 2014, then some supervisor abuse abuse the flexibility to give some respond to the question. Yeah. Because some supervisor is professor, the examiner is associate professor, so professor is higher. So some supervisor, based on my chat with some of the head of department for postgraduate studies, they say now the supervisor can intimidate the examiner, so that it creates not a very healthy situation lah. So starting from 1914 and 15, then they not allowing the supervisor to speak in the viva, in the examination. So we only allow to speak when they ask us, when they ask any specific issues. For example, they ask you, what do you think about the students' performance? And they will ask the supervisor lah. But if they don't ask, you cannot say anything. So that is the situations lah. I'm not sure in Indonesia what is the situation. Okay. So back to your question. So whatever suggestion given by your professor or supervisor, they are meant to help you. Yeah, they are meant to help you. So at the end of the day, you are the one who is going to decide. So decide means I have a very strong supervisor. I mean, he is a US graduate, master PhD, bachelor and masters in States, a PhD in Europe. So he is very Western educated. And he's very good in argumentative, in arguing. So when you want to, you argue with supervisor, you never win. Based on my experience lah. So when I don't like something, I didn't argue with the supervisor. I said, okay, that's very interesting. Okay, I note down everything. Then I do other things. Because I believe this one is better. So good supervisor, when they saw the student are doing something different, they are trying to see it from the perspective of the students. And they, okay, or you want to do something like this. It's good, but you have to think about this. That is a good supervisor. So they don't block your opinions lah. Some supervisor is not. Some supervisor say, oh no, you cannot do that. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. Tak boleh lah. You cannot do that. You have to do this. No, that is wrong. For me, you can do that, but you have to consider 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's the most important. So back into your research, you have to see back your problems. Yeah? Because the problem is the one who differentiate your thesis between other theses. So look at the problem. What is the real problem? What is the data supporting the problem? Then when you have the problem, you have the objective. Yeah? The problem statement, research question, and the objective, and the methodology after that. They are the 4 components that link up, closely link up. So if you fail in identifying the problems, you will be fail in identifying the research question. You will be failing in determining the objective. You will be failing in determining the methodologies. Jadi, so this 4 component is related lah. So ask yourself, what is the real problem? Come up with the real research question, come up with the real objective, then only you can choose your methodologies. Sometimes, okay, you have different opinion with supervisor, but they are there to help. Yeah? Remember, your supervisor is there to help you. And not your enemy. Some of my friends, the supervisor become the enemy. Sometimes you have problem because you have 2 or 3 supervisor. That become a more headache, more problem. I can share you some tips on that. Yeah, I also have two supervisors when I did my master's. Yeah, what I did is that I go. So when you have two supervisors, some students they wrongly meet supervisor A, then meet supervisor B. Of course, different people have different opinion. Supervisor A will say A, supervisor B will say B. So when the students go to one, they go to the next one, they go to the one, they go to the next one. You will have a lot of problems. You will have a lot of problems because some of my students, some of my friends, they finish up master almost 5 years because of that. They get supervisor C also. Supervisor A say A, say B, say C, then say C. So which one you going to follow? So what I did when I did my masters and PhD is that I meet my main supervisor first. Of course, you meet your co-supervisor, they will ask you, how is the progress? Okay, it's good. I'm doing this, I'm doing this. Just tell them the story. Yeah? So I meet my first supervisor, main supervisor. My supervisor should be your closest friends. Yeah, closest friend. So you talk with him or her, you discuss your thesis very detailed. I give them everything. So you discuss you every time. My supervisor is very active person. You give him a draft, yeah, draft. Prof, this is my chapter draft of my second chapters. 1 2 days he will give you back. Or in my opinion, this one is like this, like this, like this. You give another draft, the next day he will. So it was very responsive lah. Some supervisor they give you a draft 1 month only they give you their feedback kan. So but I go with my first supervisor, then I discuss everything. After I clear up everything with him, I say okay, this is the draft, the final draft that I agree with my main supervisor. Then I go to my co-supervisor. I say to him, I have discussed with Prof this, and we have agreed, we have agreed into these topics. Yeah. So if you have any question or any queries that you say you have any question, you can discuss with Prof A. Don't discuss with me. You discuss with Prof A, then both of them, then what happens is that both of them discuss lah. They will discuss, they will arguing each other. Then after that, they will come to me. Okay, Nangkula, we have agreed that your thesis should be like this. Yeah. So I'm not trying to answer your question, Yogi. What I'm telling you is that you looking at back your problems. Yeah, what is the problem that you try to address? From that problems only you can put the direction of your thesis. Ya, jadi lebih jelas lah, lebih clear. So it's not about whether it should be in one methods or other methods. Yeah, it's for you to be clear. Remember, yeah, no issues, no thesis. Okay? So the issue should be big. I get two words. Yeah, I can tell my student the issue should be important and it should be urgent. Important means it's a big issues, it's a big problem. There's a big problem, so you have to make it big. Especially when you're doing a PhD, your topic, your issue should be big. It cannot be a simple issues. I'll give example. UPM have issues of parking. One of students presenting, oh, we UPM, our parking lot is everywhere. People are parking car here and there, not organized. I say, what was the problem with the parking issues? Do we need a research to do that, to solve the problem? Yeah, you just need a parking lot, design a parking lot, and you park there. So you have to come up with a bigger problems. Okay, this parking have in the morning when people want to come to the office, there's a big traffic jam in UPM. When you want to enter the gate, yeah, in UCSI also you want to enter the gate at 9:30, something like 8:30. So, oh, the cars also long queue. People are late for works. Lots of petrol was wasted. You come up with the big issues there, something like that. Accidents, lots of issues. So you have to pictures the problem in the big manner, and it must be urgent. Yeah, important and urgent. Urgent means it must be solved now. The more you delay the problem, the bigger the problem will be. So that is the thing, Yogi. So because of what? Because the problem will determine your contribution. If your problem is simple, small, you won't contribute a lot. Yeah. So it should be big. So for example, like homestay. What's the problem with the homestays? Is it the economical problems? Big pictures, remember big pictures? Never, don't just look in it from your discipline of knowledge. Yeah, maybe from the apa, not only from the apa, from the design, architecture. All architect students always come with the design. Engineering students always come up with the tools, instrument. Yeah, they didn't see it something bigger behind it. You have to see it bigger issues behind it. That's the objective of it. Okay, Yogi, hope that answer your question. Any question maybe? We can have like 2 more questions. Hello? Oh, we have 45. I hope my 4 student is not intimidated. Yes, any question, yes?
No, Prof, I'm good. Well, me.
I hope you guys is not intimidated.
No, no, no.
We have a lots of guests from Warmadewa universities today, and I think we should be able to collaborate more with them lah. I think I invite most of our lecturers to join the SIDAN. I think now we are forming the teams and preparing the proposal for that. Okay, any question? Maybe Ibu Ika? Any question, Ika?
Halo Prof,
Yes.
saya bahasa Melayu saja lah. Saya bahasa Melayu saja Prof.
Silakan Ika.
Prof, saya tadi ada menyimak beberapa jenis riset. Ini yang saya ingin tanya itu adalah yang tentang cara mengungkapkan kebenaran secara bertahap dan mencari tahu tentang proses yang menggerakkan alam semesta. Ya, Prof. Ini mungkin bagi saya cukup unik ya, mencari tahu tentang apa yang menggerakkan alam semesta ini. Mungkin contoh risetnya itu seperti apa ya di dalam keilmuan kita ya, sipil maupun arsitektur. Ya Prof ya. Izin Prof, ini jangan terlalu cepat Prof. Mahasiswa saya nggak bisa cepat mencerna bahasa Inggrisnya. Izin ya Prof, kalau ada anak-anak yang nakal Prof, mohon maaf dalam proses webinar ini. Silakan Prof. Thank you. Sampai ketemu di Malaysia.
Inshallah. Okay. First of all, I think I think younger generation ya, anak-anak muda Indonesia ni the English is better. Better than the older generation like us lah, most of the time, because they are more exposed, yeah? They are more exposed to the social media, to the YouTube and etc. Yeah? So the problem with us is that we are not confident to talk about it. Yeah? Sometimes you are afraid. Yeah? You're afraid that your English might be wrong. I mean, nothing is wrong with that. Yeah? Even if you go to Europe, when one father angry to their son, yeah, they're not using a good or a nice grammatical English also, yeah, a well grammatical English also. So is nothing wrong with that. Just try your best. I mean, you can ask in bahasa Melayu, also okay. Yeah, so Dr. Ika from Warmadewa was asking a questions to us about the process of research, yeah, uncovering the universe, yeah, the mysteries in the universe. One thing that I think I would like to answer is that in academics, yeah, we have to, yeah, in scientific research like engineering or science or medics, yeah, we are dealing with something experimental, yeah, we doing experiment, we doing a scientific exercise where we actually trying to understand a phenomena. Yeah, we try to understand phenomena. Okay. Not to say truths. Yeah, I think the definition is biased to the scientific and engineering one. In academics, there's no such thing as truth, yeah? Except truth, something that you believe with your faith. Yeah, there's a different story. So it's not an academics area. In academic area, we just know things called pictures. Yeah? Now, pictures means we understand some things because of certain parameters. Ya, jadi kita memahami sesuatu itu sebagai satu kebenaran berdasarkan apa yang kita paham terhadap beberapa pictures. Ya. Pictures itu apa namanya, our understanding of truths defined by information. Ya, kalau saya ceritakan dalam ada satu research yang agak lain tuh, yang very how to write in the academics manners, ya. What we have information. Dalam hidup ini kita ada information. We have information in life. For example, like Indonesia have 33 province. Ya. Contoh misalnya 34, 35 provinsi, terakhir 27. So apa namanya, mungkin ada, atau kita mungkin mengatakan bahwa Indonesia negara kepulauan, atau we can say that male lecturers, ya, dosen-dosen lelaki, when they meet each other, they like to talk about sport cars, ya, cars, and maybe promotions. Ya. While when the females lecturer, when they meet each other, they like to talk about fashion, they talk about other things. Yeah, so that's information. We call it information. Yeah. The second component, we call it a data. Data is a certain measure that attributes into certain information. Yeah, for example, like recipe for rendang Minang, yeah. For example, like rendang Minang is a traditional food in Padang, yeah. So that's rendang Minang have recipe. The recipe we call it data, or we can say something like books, buildings, information, yeah, pictures in the brochure, yeah, in the tourism brochure. Yeah, that is, we call it data. And the last component that forms our understanding of facts is what we call experience. Experience, for example, your experience dealing with students, yeah, supervising students. Our experience dealing with clients. Our experience dealing with politicians. Yeah, that's our experience. So, something that we call truths, yeah, is a combination, is a pictures, yeah, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. Jadi, for example, like we say, okay, let's give some things, futuristic a bit, yeah. We think that let's say Prabowo lah, yeah, Prabowo is in Indonesia is do you think Prabowo is a good candidate for president, for example, in Indonesia? Then we give an opinion. We give an opinion based on the information that we have, the data that we have, and the experience that we have. So whether our opinion is true or not is not a problem. In academic world, it's not about whether this is correct or right or wrong. It's about how the framework that forms that opinion. Okay? So the opinion is that Prabowo is a good candidate for president. For example, I don't know, some of you might not like Prabowo, some of you might like Prabowo. Right? So Prabowo is a good president. Because of what? Because information, he's a good leader, he's a good me. Because of the data that we have, or he has experience as a minister, he's a good experience. So what experience? Maybe we meet him before, maybe we saw him doing something. So, the research, yeah, is based what we are trying to uncover the facts, not the facts, yeah. It's a pictures. So I'm using the words pictures, pictures to phenomena. Yeah, we are looking at the phenomena in the natures, yeah, fenomena dalam alam semesta ini, ya, that phenomena we try to explain, ya, we try to explain through the research. At one time, the pictures, yeah, that's why I call it pictures. Pictures is that when you are combining certain information, data, experience, combined together, you come out with this experience, with the what you call as a facts, yeah, or theory. The facts, yeah, the facts throughout the years, ya, selama bertahun-tahun dia akan jadi teori. Teori itu lahir dari the theories come from the series of facts, series of pictures that we put there. So along the line, people assessing, condemns, give opinion, tak setuju, setuju. Then from that things, it become a new kind of theories and picture. So basically, research is about we are trying to produce certain pictures, ya, certain facts, ya, through the scientific process, ya. Jadi so we come out with the different ideas of facts and figure so that it can be a kind of pictures or a kind of theories in the future. Ya. Mudah-mudahan menjawab ya Bu Ika.
Siap, Prof.
Kita bisa belajar sama-sama lah, insyaAllah. Ya.
Ya, insya Allah.
Okay, anyone more question maybe? The last one before we end the session.
Oke, silakan ada mahasiswa yang ingin bertanya. Karena kalau mahasiswa kami di S1 lebih banyak mereka perencanaan, Prof.
Oh, oke.
Tugas akhirnya perencanaan. Kalau di S2 baru tesis. Hanya lebih banyak riset. Nah, kebetulan S2 lebih sedikit ikut, Prof. Karena siang mereka bekerja. Oke, mahasiswa S1 ada yang ingin bertanya, silakan.
I think you can ask, boleh tanya dalam bahasa Indonesia apa boleh? Nanti I try to give the English yang dijelaskan dalam Inggris ya. Because ada some of my students
seperti takut gitu loh, Prof. Sebenarnya kita sudah berkawan ini, Prof, asalnya dari Surabaya malahan ya. Jadi jangan ragu untuk bertanya. Silakan.
Jadi dibandingkan dengan kawasan lain di Indonesia, seharusnya Bali ini lebih internasional kan?
Ya betul.
Lebih banyak I mean I never saw many European and American or Australian in
Mungkin
Indonesia.
belum biasa, Prof. Belum biasa mendengarkan cepat bahasa Inggris ya, Prof ya. Next time saya yakini, Prof, anak-anak ini nanti mulai berani bereksperimen. Kalau berbeda, kalau yang sipil mungkin kurang ya, Prof ya, meeting dengan luar. Kalau yang arsitektur itu di bawah Pak Mang D itu sudah biasa mereka interaksi dengan teman-teman di Uttar Malaysia. Nah, nanti di sini akan saya ajak juga teman-teman mahasiswa di sini nanti ketika kita kolaborasi di sidang nanti, Prof ya.
Oke, insyaallah. Okay, I think any question? Maybe one last question. Pertanyaan terakhir.
Because mereka pas, Prof. Pas.
Okay. I think that's all for our first lectures. Yeah, I'm very happy that lots of students from Marmadewa. Yeah, thank you very much. I think in the future we should encourage more cross lectures. Yeah, I think we still have 10 or 12 sessions. Yeah, with different speakers. Yeah, I think I open up for you. I think Bu Ika can share, Dr. Ika can share the posters. Yeah, we use the same link. I think the link will be the same every week. and then we just we will have record the lectures. I think next week's lecture you should be joining, because my professor will be presenting. Yeah. He will be he's not only an architecture professor lah. You can ask him politics, you can
Prof,
ask him
untuk
about
evaluasi, saya minta materinya Prof, kemudian saya akan evaluasi resume atau tanggapan mahasiswa terhadap kegiatan pagi ini, Prof. Saya minta materinya. Ya. Via WA ya,
no
Prof.
problem.
Oke, thank you.
Insyaallah.
Thank you.
Siap. Saya WhatsApp-kan. Okay, I think that's all for today. Thank you very much for your attendance again. Really appreciated. I recorded the session, so if any one of you want to watch the recording of it, then I can share the links. Then you can always review that and share with other people. Okay. Again, thank you very much for your attendance. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum, Prof.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Prof.